What is up guys, it's your boy Swollam here, back with another Classic WoW video for fresh Classic WoW servers. We are finally getting fresh, progressive servers for Classic WoW, which means we are getting multiple servers. We are getting PvE servers, or I guess one PvE server per region. We're getting a PvP server, and these two servers, they will progress into a TBC Classic in about 1.5 years, or 14 months, 16 months, something like that. These are progressive Classic WoW servers, starting from fresh, and we're also getting fresh hardcore servers at the same time. If you are a gold maker like me, this is an absolutely great time. Going back to Classic era like a couple of years ago in 2021 or 2022, it wasn't really the best time because people had hundreds of thousands of gold. The whole Classic era market was ridden with gold buying and gold selling, and if you were doing a raid, you had to pay thousands of gold for items through GDKPs, and thankfully GDKPs are banned in Classic Fresh, which is great to see. They're basically doing the Season of Discovery handling of GDKPs, so we'll be seeing less GDKPs by a huge margin. It is essentially banned, but you might see some GDKPs in some way, shape or form, but the basics is GDKPs will not be there. That being said, gold in Classic WoW is a huge thing. First of all, you need gold for your mount at level 40, you need even more gold for your mount at level 60, and then you have consumes. If you've been raiding in Classic WoW, consumes cost you a lot of gold every single week, and due to how raids are working, sometimes you raid several days per week. Some raids reset every 3 days, and you want to have consumes for all of them to parse. Parsing culture is huge, so they want to have flasks, consumes, food buffs, and even potions and everything else. Having raided in Season of Discovery myself, I know just how expensive this can be, and Classic WoW, it's probably going to be even more expensive. So gold is a huge thing in Classic WoW. Even with the ban of GDKPs, gold will still be a huge thing, and I love farming gold. I love making gold. To me, this is going to be insane. And we also have fresh servers, which means the market starts at 0. That is a huge opportunity. Now, for the purpose of that, we are going to be covering some gold making content on this channel over the next couple of days and/or weeks, where we're talking about farming gold, making gold, crafting for gold, and also investing as well, because one of the main ways I make gold in Classic WoW is by buying items when they're cheap, because when everyone else wants gold, they are willing to sell everything they have for like whatever they get. So you can get some very good deals if you have a little bit of gold the first month, because that's when people buy their mount at level 40 and buy their mount at level 60 and also start buying consumes for their raids. So by playing your cards right early, you can make a bunch of gold long term, which is going to be great. Now today we're focusing on the gold farming aspect of this. This is a bunch of people joining in right now. This is a bunch of people. Are we getting world buffs? Okay, that makes sense. This is like Classic hardcore right now, by the way, on the old hardcore servers at just a random time of the day, so I feel like this is pretty popular, and I cannot wait to see how popular the fresh hardcore servers ends up being in less than a week from now. And when this video comes out, I've been scheduling some videos here, and this video should be coming out very close to the launch of the actual hardcore servers, or the fresh servers. Now in this video, we're talking about farming for gold, and I want to show you guys some locations where you can farm for gold while you are leveling in these fresh servers. And we're going to start with some very low level gold farms here, by the way, because even at low levels, if you just don't know where to quest, you can combine grinding mobs for experience and farming valuable items, either that you can sell right now or later down the line. You can basically farm as a term of investment, where you're farming for something that is not relevant at the moment, but will be relevant later, and then you can sell it later. So you can farm for gold both right now and later, and also get experience at the same time. Now, we are going to start this off with farming for light feathers and small eggs, and also sharp claws. Now, the main thing I'm farming for here is basically those light feathers. They will be usable whenever Arthur Basin comes around and slow falling becomes a thing, levitating becomes a thing. Basically, it's not something that will be relevant right off the bat, but you can make a bunch of gold with over the long term. And Between level 10 and 20, there's not really that many farms you can do anyway, and this is one of those few farms that you can do that has a lot of relevance. Light feathers will be really cheap early, but they will go up in price over time, and we also have the fresh release here is really close to the Christmas event, which means small eggs might actually become relevant very quickly, and you can make some gold based off that as well. You also get those sharp claws that you can also sell for a decent, like okay-ish amount of gold. It's not gonna make you rich though, definitely not at the start, but it's a mob you can farm and get experience at the same time. You also have this is used in the Red Ridge Goulash quest, and it's the hardest item to farm. It can be farmed at a circle I've highlighted right here in Red Ridge Mountains, where you're farming for the Red Ridge Goulash, or the tough condor meat, for that Red Ridge Goulash. If you want to farm in the low, like level 15 to 20 range, that's a great place to be. This is basically based on the principle that a bunch of people will be lazy, and they will be trying to get that quest complete as soon as they can, and will be willing to pay you whatever they have to complete that quest fast. You can either get pure gold for it, like silvers, or they can trade you skinning materials, herbalism materials. They can trade you items for those items, and you can make a bunch of gold by doing this, and grind mobs for experience at the same time. Likewise, you have the Gore-Tusk liver pie in Westfall. If you want to make a bunch of gold, or just get a bunch of materials, be a tradesman kind of, while you're leveling, you can just grind a bunch of Gore-Tusk in Westfall, and save up all of the snout and the livers you get, and trade those to other people, either for silvers, or for skinning materials, mining materials, or herbalism materials. Gore-Tusk livers, you need 10 of them or 8 of them for a quest, and the snouts you will probably not be able to trade, but the livers you will absolutely be able to trade, and lots of people are looking for them every single fresh. Now, that was just to start us off with some low level gold farms to show you like you can start farming for things really early and give yourself a competitive advantage in the gold making scene from a really early level, even though you're not gonna get much, but you can trade for silvers, and you can then put those silvers into valuable items that will go up in price over time, and it's all about starting somewhere and building a snowman, but starting with a little bit of snow and turning that into a snowball, and then using the snowball effect. For this next one, you want to be in the mid-level 20s, maybe to close level 30s. You're fighting level 25 to level 28 mobs, and we are doing so in the Charred Vale. This one will be a lot easier for Horde players than Alliance players typically, because it's much closer to the Horde. It is basically very close to the Barrens, right? And if you are a Night Elf, you will probably go here at some point, and as an Alliance player, you usually go here before Desolate times anyway, so you can definitely go here like as any faction. It will just be easier and faster for the Horde. Now over here you can start farming for the end game already, where you're farming for elemental fire from these fire elementals, and as I just showed you on the screen, they are used in greater fire protection potions. And here is a map of where these are farmed, and the red circles highlights where these mobs are, and it's just in the Stone Talon Mountains. And once again, why this is easier for Horde is that it's much closer to their like starting zones and like where they already are, so this is like a Horde favored farm. Meanwhile, Alliance can definitely go here as well. Next up is another farm where you're farming for the end game already, and this one is more Alliance favored because we're in the wetlands right now, and as a Horde it's kind of hard to get here, it takes time. Here you're farming for the Small Flame Sack, which is used in fire protection potion, so the cheap alternative to greater fire protection potions. Now these are used a bunch, they're also used in Dragon Breast Chili for example, so they're not just used in the regular fire protection potions, but them being used in those potions will make them relevant, and Molten Core comes out 3 weeks after these servers comes out, so these will be in high relevance really early, and especially if you're playing on the hardcore servers, this will be really good for you. If you're not self-found, of course, you're using the auction house. Fire protection potions are used all the time, not just in Molten Core, but in regular dungeons as well, in Molten Core itself, and even just to do lava skips. So both regular fire protection potions and the greater ones will sell like hotcakes, no matter the server you play on. PvP, PvE or hardcore, doesn't matter, and farming these mobs right here in the level 25, you can start doing this farm in the mid-level 20s, like let's say level 25, and you can literally farm for the end game at level 25. So if you are stuck and you have no idea where to go at level 25, especially as an alliance player, this right here is a great place to be, because you're hitting 2 birds 1 stone, farming gold and experience at the same time. Next up, in the mid-level 30s, or towards the end of the level 30s, or even at the beginning of the level 40s, you have 3 different locations in the Badlands where you can farm for elemental earth. Now, the fresh servers, they are progressive, starting with phase 1, then phase 2, and then phase 3. Elemental earth usually gains more relevance in later phases, when we for example have AQ or set G, where anything requiring like nature protection potions is when this will be more relevant. That being said, you can start farming for it really early, so once again, if you're looking for a place to farm, combine farming for experience and gold at the same time. Any of those 3 locations in the Badlands would be good. And also, we have these locations right here for small flame sacks, which is the same level range. So high level 30s to low level 40s, you have all of these 3 locations which are great to farm for small flame sacks and various hatchlings, which is basically just a cosmetic or a battle pet that you can also farm for. And small flame sacks, once again, are used in endgame content. They're used in fire protection potions and dragon breath chili. Now, one of the most grindy level brackets in Classic WoW will be those level 50s, so like early 50s or even late 40s. You can start farming for gold in the location that is being shown right here, or I guess I should say the 2 locations, and at the northern location you can also get traveler's backpacks, for example. Now, I like this location to farm because you get healing potions, mana potions, mage weave cloth, journeyman's backpack, and once again traveler's backpacks at the northern location. These bags can sell for a decent chunk of gold really early, cloth is also always in demand really early, and you also have these locations to just naturally progress into. When you're done in Fellwood, you just go through the tunnel from Fellwood to Winterspring, and then you have these locations right here, which once again can drop you cloth. This time it's rune cloth. You can get healing potions, mana potions, Winterfall firewater, that's a consumable by the way, that is used at level 60 for raiding for example, and traveler's backpacks. Now, another bonus with all of these farms I just showed you is that they also give you certain items like the Deadwood Head Feather, where you can hand this one in for further experience and further gold and also reputation. So for me, this is really good for just farming experience. You farm for a while and then you just hand in these feathers, they're basically free experience, and you get reputation at the same time. It is just hitting multiple birds with 1 stone. Especially if you are an enchanter, for example, you can use a reputation to then buy certain recipes. Even leatherworkers can get those recipes as well. Now, these are just a couple of the locations where you can farm gold while you're leveling on these fresh servers, but the main point is, if you ever feel stuck and you have no idea where to go for questing purposes, you can take some time and farm mobs for experience, and by combining that with a gold farm, you're literally hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. And even if you start farming for gold at level 20, and you think to yourself, I can just level to 60 and make more gold. Yes, you can, but if you are level 20 and everyone is like level 20 to 30, what you're farming then is relevant, and the purchasing power of whatever silvers or gold you're getting, by spending that gold, you can make the same equivalent as you would at level 60, if that makes sense. So for example, farming linen cloth or wool cloth and getting some silvers back for that, and putting that into, I don't know, light feathers for example, you can make a bunch of gold that way. It's all about making gold or silver when it's relevant, and putting that currency back into items that you think will go up in price. And for the purpose of that, I will be posting both on Patreon and people that have my gold making guide for Classic WoW, which you can check out through a link down below by the way. If you want my help for gold making, check out my gold making guide or my Patreon. I will be posting most of my gold making information over there, and the videos will be a little bit more generalized and easier to follow. Meanwhile, the more valuable and harder to follow information will be over there. Now, for those of you who bought my gold making guide for hardcore for example, or Season of Discovery, remember that gold guide is called the Ultimate Classic WoW Gold Making Guide. that is still the same one. So if you haven't the Season of Discovery guide, for example, that is the one I'm talking about here, and you can check the Discord server for a couple of updates over there, and there should be some early access to gold making videos, and even some exclusive videos or posts as well that you can check out for these upcoming fresh servers. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, there is either going to be some posts available right now, or they will be very soon. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and a couple of more things that I would farm myself, just to give you a couple of just to throw some out there. If you are in Eastern Plaguelands, you have, for example, this right here in the water is very good for farming both elemental water and also essence of water, and just the water elementals in themselves are good to farm as well. You have larval acids in Eastern Plaguelands, they're usually worth a ton that you can farm for as well, and I also love farming for Fellicloth in both Ashara and also Fellwood. Now typically I do Ashara here and I focus on the Jade Satyr camp at the red area here, and you also have another camp to the northwest and one to the northeast where you can farm for Fellicloth, and while you're farming for that you also get health potions, mana potions and cloth at the same time, once again hitting multiple birds with one stone, getting both gold and experience at the same time. Either way, that's kind of an introduction to farming gold while you're leveling. I will likely make a couple of more videos about this on other farms as well, just to give you many different examples of where you can farm. Alternatively, I have many old videos from Classic WoW's launch and also the launch of the hardcore servers about 1.5 years ago, where we cover how to make gold while leveling over there as well. Either way, thank you for watching, I really do appreciate it, and let me know how you plan to make gold in these fresh servers in the comments. I would love to hear some gold making chat, so let me know. Either way, thank you for watching, I'll see you again in the next video very soon.